I'm back, which I'm just going to get out ahead of it. I'm sorry. I apologize. Because this team loves to have big wins when I'm gone and suck when I'm on the show. Psychos and sickos unite for another edition of the PHNX Suns pregame show, brought to you by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you. At Gila River Resorts and Casinos, play at Gila.com for more details. I'm Eric. I'm back. That's Steven. He never left. And that's Noah, who was also gone on Friday for the Suns' massive win over the Cleveland Cavaliers. But now it's time for them to do it again, because tonight they take on Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. Kara in the chat says, you're the problem, Eric. And at least that is something I am self-aware of, Steven, that this whole season, it's on me, because I missed the Clippers comeback game, the largest comeback in franchise history, because I was covering Arizona State losing to U of A. You're welcome, Sean. And then I miss Friday's game because I'm post 24-hour stream. Yes, Alston, I'm still tired. And the Suns just go on and play, I would say, their best game of basketball. Looking back on it in the entire season, Steven, you've had a whole weekend to marinate on it. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling after that dub?
I mean, the moment was the moment. Friday was dope. It's everything that we've expected and always thought that this team could do against the upper echelon of teams across the league. It's what the roster was constructed to do. But that day is come and gone. We are far removed from Friday. The Bucks could care less about who you just beat prior to them. They're going to be focused on beating you tonight. And will the Suns continue on this trajectory of playing better basketball? Or will they start to stagnate? Or will they fall completely back? That remains to be seen, but they've been trending the right direction.
And there's a couple reasons why they've been trending in the right direction. Of course, their defensive energy, their hustle, playing Cody Martin, the rookies, Colin Gillespie. Well, it's going to get a little interesting tonight, because let's go ahead and just take a look at our injury report here. Mason Plumlee is available. Nick Richards is available. Grayson Allen, not on the injury report. Bradley Beal still out, which is something we'll touch on in a second. Of course, from Milwaukee, Giannis is available. Gary Trent Jr. is available. They're missing Bobby Portis, Damian Lillard, and Jericho Sims. So two really good players. Their second best player missing for them tonight. But all eyes, Steven, fall on Mike Budenholzer's rotation. And this is what he said in pregame media availability on how he approaches the rotation with Grayson and Mason back.
And then with Grayson and potentially Mason back in the lineup tonight, how do you kind of approach working guys back into the lineup who have been part of it, knowing how well you guys have been playing with other guys stepping up as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's everybody's, having a lot of options is supposed to be a good thing, and it is. And so, I think we got to trust everybody on the roster, but lean into the guys that have been playing well, particularly defensively. I think we need to just try and find the right combo, find the right mix each night. But it's good to have those guys back.
Yeah, we saw conflicting answers from Bud when asked about that pregame and postgame on Friday. And now comes the moment of truth. And I'm very curious to see what the rotation is going to look like. Will it align more with what's helped to get them to the space that they've been operating in of late? Or will this be counterbalanced by rotation decisions that left the team in, honestly, in dismay at crucial points of this season so far?
I'm torn. I felt like I was pulled two different directions of that answer. Answer number one was you got to trust everybody on your roster, which, of course, means those guys are playing tonight. Like, they're going to be in the rotation, even though some people don't want them to be. But then, we got to lean on the players who've been playing well as of late, especially defensively. Mike Budenholzer hasn't really given me a reason to trust that he's going to pull the right levers when it comes to this team when they are almost fully healthy, because it seems like when he makes his best decisions is when he doesn't have a lot of the options to make those decisions from. So we just have to watch it closely tonight. But I know for a fact that myself, the Suns community, like people who are just watching the game, are going to lose their minds if Oso is iced out or completely taken out of the rotation, considering there are 2 other centers available now with Nick Richards and Mason Plumlee. Or Ryan Dunn, if he gets significantly less minutes. I don't know if he's starting tonight. Let me go take a look and see if the Suns have put that out. They starting, is it Gillespie, Dunn?
Same 5.
Okay. So that's good. But again,
well, almost same 5. Nick Richards is at the 5.
Nick Richards in at the 5. But I am interested to see, we've seen Ryan Dunn get bench minutes as a starter. So now that there's more options, I'm hoping to see still some consistency over what gave the Suns a dramatic difference in their 3-game win streak versus where they've been the rest of the season before that.
And I agree with you. I feel like the answer has been obvious. And that's, you can't win in this NBA without people that can control or steal the wheel for your defense from the point of attack. Whether that be literally guarding the initiator of offense or guarding a primary ball handler who's eventually going to get the ball that leads into a point of attack. It's really that simple. You only have 2 at your disposal in terms of bigger wings that can take on multiple matchups. There's no reason why they shouldn't be in the lineup. And there's no reason why any of the players that I've dubbed blue-collar boys shouldn't be getting viable stake to a claim of minutes in the rotation.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, the blue-collar boys, plural, right? It's not just Ryan Dunn. If Grayson Allen takes away significant minutes away from Cody Martin as well, I'm going to be upset unless Grayson's going out there and firing away. And, of course, Grayson's playing against his former team in the Milwaukee Bucks, and Coach Bud is coaching against his former team. Before we get to what he had to say, Bud also did have an update on Bradley Beal's progress as he remained out. And if people do remember, it was a week ago that they said he would be reevaluated in a week.
Yeah, he's been progressing well. I think we're ramping up his court work. I think each day you just have to see how they respond to that. But we feel good about how he's progressing.
Doesn't sound like, to me, like he's going to be coming back anytime soon, which I'm comfortable with personally.
It seems like it's going to be a while. There's not much of a while left in the season, though. So I'm curious what the plan is there, if there's any type of target date in mind. And when he comes back, obviously, more than anything else, what is his presence in terms of production going to look like? Is it going to add to what's been established? Is it going to take away? Is it going to be some middle ground where things can be happily married and a team can be healthy going into a play-in realm where they'll need every bit of their roster to help get to the actual playoffs? A lot of things in play that remain to be seen, but we'll be getting answers in the next week or 2.
Yeah, and we'll be interested to see how Grayson Allen works his way back in tonight, how Nick Richards works his way back in tonight. Maria, with a great comment in the chat, says, this is not the game to let Allen and company work off the rust. If he isn't hitting shots, he shouldn't be left out there at the expense of Dunn and Martin minutes. And I think that when you talk about the Milwaukee Bucks, we were talking pregame, you said they're a flawed team, and we'll get into that, but they are Mike Budenholzer's former team, and he kept it brief when asked about what it means to be coaching against them for the first time.
First time coaching against your former team. When you look back at your time in Milwaukee, besides the championship, what memories really stand out to you?
It was a great 5 years, but I think right now before the game, I'd rather just focus on Phoenix, focus on us, get ready to do our job tonight, and our players don't care, and I probably shouldn't either.
Very robust answer there from Coach Bud. But let's talk about his former team in the Milwaukee Bucks. No Damian Lillard tonight, but they still have Giannis. You say they're a flawed team. What flaws do you see that the Suns can exploit?
Point of attack defense for the Bucks. They only have one that's notable. That's Taurean Prince. Outside of him, one of their biggest flaws has been not being able to contain primary ball handlers on the perimeter. They don't like to put Giannis in primary actions because he's been at his best, his defensive player of the year caliber self, when he can roam off of a shooter that isn't respected as such from opposing teams. He can kind of cheat off and kind of clog things up that are happening on the primary side of things. also provide rim protection. They don't have the luxury of putting him in that scenario maybe as often as Doc Rivers might comfortably want to. And because of that, those are opportunities for the Suns to exploit, whether Giannis is cheating off of Ryan Dunn, who's probably going to be going up against in the starting lineup, and Ryan's able to get a hot start, knock down maybe 2 threes in the first quarter, or just be able to drive off of the space that Giannis is conceding, or if it's Grayson Allen that's in over the course of rotations, and Giannis happens to get switched onto him and he wants to cheat over to the strong side, there's going to be opportunities, and the Bucks don't have an ability to stay in front of the ball to the extent that you might expect for a team with Giannis and Brook Lopez on the team to be.
Yeah, and I think that especially when you have the Western Conference Player of the Week and Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, who's been really dipping into that playmaking bag, even more so since the All-Star break, has come and passed up to 8 assists per game, basically. And I think 7 is what he's averaging on his season, which is already a career high. He's bumped it up to 8 since then, using both of those guys to kind of play off of it. But it is going to come down to those role players hitting a lot of threes as well. When you attack somebody who's weak on the point of attack, it creates a lot of disadvantages for the defense, which we've seen firsthand with the Suns and why they give up so many open threes when they play guys who can't guard the point of attack, because everybody else has to figure it out outside of that. And one of the reasons why they were able to beat the Cavs was because of their three-point shooting, and especially the three-point shooting of role players. So you're going to need the Royce O'Neals, a returning Grayson Allen, Tyus Jones, Ryan Dunn, to be able to at least hit a good percentage of their open threes to keep Giannis honest, bars, and to be able to spread defenses out and give your 2 superstars enough wiggle room to score, because they don't need a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And to that point, Milwaukee is a team that has some of the most three-point attempts against. But one positive about their defense is, though they're not good at the point of attack, they are good at rotating defensively. They have like a top 7 or top 6 defensive three-point field goal percentage allowed. So though they concede a lot, they also deter a lot in terms of getting out to the three-point line and getting contests up, but also running guys off the three-point line.
Yeah, let's get to a couple super chats. Thank you all so much for dropping your super chats here in pregame. Hit that like button as well. Over 220 of you watching here on a Monday night. Remember, we will be back for post-game coverage a couple minutes after the final buzzer, win or loss, hopefully talking about 4 straight wins for your Phoenix Suns, but I'm here, so they're probably going to lose by 40. Let's start it off with Arton says, if we win this game, I would not be surprised if we win against the Celtics. Please tell me Beal's not going to ruin it all. Please.
I'll just say pump the brakes and let's focus on today's game. We'll get to Wednesday when Wednesday gets here.
We got B. Calm C Clearly, which means it's Noah's turn.
$2 from B. Calm C Clearly. 40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than basketball.
Talking about getting our lick back for the finals. Is that what we're talking about? Okay.
Then he follows it up with, hey, QT legs, we win when you show them legs. Heart.
I mean, is that the key to the Suns' success? You know, it's been winter, and now it's getting a little warmer. Record high today, by the way, 96. How did that feel for you in the middle of March?
It's different for sure. It's like 35 back at the crib.
It's a little different.
Just a little bit. I ain't complaining, though, but I refuse to take any responsibility in this team turning the corner. I'm just glad they're finally doing some of the things that I've been kind of suggesting for quite some time.
Take that responsibility.
Nah, I can't take that.
Stand on there and be like, this turnaround, this 3-game win streak
I can't take
is
that.
all SPG's doing.
Nah.
Stand on business.
Nah.
All right, well, let's see how we're standing on business. Let's go ahead and take a look at our score prediction for tonight. Who wins and by how much? Espo. Oh, he's always so pessimistic. He literally did a Southwest bias today where he was like, you know, I'm ready to be hurt again. Like he believes again, kind of. And he's taking the Bucks by 4. But the rest of us taking Suns by a small margin in descending order. It's Gerald at 4, Steven at 3, and me at 2. You are the middleman, but of course not Suns by a lot.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 1 or 2 possession game. And I feel like it's going to be one that the Suns can go and get because Milwaukee struggles in the clutch this season. They have one of the worst, I think it's second worst defense in clutch scenarios, or second worst offense, in clutch scenarios. And they have, I think it's the second best defense, if I'm not mistaken. So 2 complete opposite ends of the spectrum. But when you're going up against a team that has Kevin Durant and Devin Booker in the clutch, I think that shifts things. So if it does enter that point, I feel like that's where the Suns would like to be. Obviously, you would want to have a double-digit lead, but if it gets there, should feel comfortable because of the two players you have at the top of your roster.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed from the Suns in these last 3 games the fact that when they get out to a lead and the other team has been punching back, they've been able to hit with that counter punch.
Yeah.
Now, no team has had a Giannis at their disposal in these last 3 games, right? And as much as I love Cleveland, and Cleveland is a better team than Milwaukee, they have been struggling as of late, and they don't have that tier 1 superstar top 5 player in the league like the Bucks do in Giannis. And I don't need to remind everybody about 2021 and what that kind of player can do to the Phoenix Suns, but you are going to have to try to find a way to contain him. And even as recently as last year, there have been chippy games against the Bucks, against Giannis, with Kevin Durant and with Book. And so there's always a good close game when these two teams meet. I would not be shocked if it gets down to that clutch time tonight, but the Suns need to make sure they get out to an early lead, in my opinion, because the biggest thing you don't want to do is play from behind against Giannis, because he's going to get to the line, he's going to slow the game down, and it's already scary when you have a lead and he's going out there and trying to put fools through the rim. But if they have a lead, that makes it that much harder to catch up. Tish with a question asks, who's guarding Giannis?
Everybody. Everybody, including the fans.
You know,
No
the meme
one
where
is-
everybody's just like pointing at themselves?
Exactly.
Me?
No one is
Huh?
excluded. That's what it takes an army.
It-
The cliche is that,
and
but
even
it
then, you're
literally
not stopping him.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
you are never going to be in a world where you can stop the Bucks.
Mhm.
But there are things that the Suns can do to win this game. Let's go through your keys.
For sure. The first one being multiple board presences. The Bucks aren't like the most gargantuan type of dominant rebounding team, but they have one of the best rebounders in the history of the game. That also matches in tandem with one of the better plus rebounders in the game in Brook Lopez. Those are two big bodies. You have to account for them. Boxing out, I call them sandwich box outs, where there's one person in front of the person that's supposed to be boxing them out, and someone else helping out one of the guards crashing down to make sure they can't just reach out and grab the ones that might go over their heads. You have to be disciplined with that. You have to be smart with your rebounding tactics. That's one that should be loud and abundant early on. You want to set that tone that you spoke to. You don't get to that point without having control of the board. So that's the first one for me. Number 2, pace. Pace in specific with being able to play it on your terms more so than the flow of the game. Just play the game on your terms. And by your terms, I mean keep Giannis off of the free throw line. I don't know how many games this season where I'm looking at his box score and he's taking almost as many, if not more, attempts from the free throw line than he is from the field. That's no indictment against him. He has to get fouled because he's that great. He's also very good at baiting referees into calling fouls. Also very much a skill. No, it might not be the prettiest style of basketball, but it's a skill nonetheless. His talent suggests and warrants those calls that he gets, and he knows how to play to that. And then the other big thing is tempo on the half court, and that's where the Suns really have to be good with their ball movement. I mentioned the record when they have 31 or more assists. They have an elite win percentage, like a top 4 or top 3 win percentage. You play to those strengths against this Bucks team that can't stay in front of the ball. Opportunities to score will be there on good shot quality. And then the last one is dictate with the three-point line, which is kind of the half-court tempo playing into it. You play to your strengths with the ball movement, getting paint touches, getting them rotating. You have a litany of three-point shooters that have all been shooting the ball very well of late. You win the three-point line against this Bucks team, that should be a direct avenue to winning the game.
Speaking of fouls, we have another super chat, this time from TV Remote. I believe these are rupees. Says, praying for our guy's health today because remember, it's a defensive foul when Giannis knocks your teeth out.
It's true.
I mean, it is true. It is a foul on you when Giannis elbows you in the face. And then I did miss one from BComC clearly. Noah?
$2, BComC clearly. If we win, Booker gets his tongue.
Wow Factor says, Eric, why not do a live watch along? We missed those. Well, Wow Factor, you're going to be happy. This week, we're going to be doing a couple of those, so just stay tuned for that. For sure, DJ says, this is a huge game. I'll be watching from Flagstaff. Thanks, DJ, for watching here from Flagstaff and the game from Flagstaff. And part of the reason why it is such a massive game, Steven, is because those pesky Dallas Mavericks with a returning Anthony Davis are not laying down. 120-101 victory over, yes, the Brooklyn Nets, but a victory nonetheless has temporarily moved them into sole possession of the 10th seed, a half a game above the Phoenix Suns. You are still, despite the 3-game win streak, dead centered with Dallas for that 10th seed. Sacramento is still in striking distance, but right now you need to take care of business, get back tied up with Dallas, and move back into that 10th seed.
Yeah, I mean, it's you versus you. It still is that. It remains to be that. If you continue to take care of your business in the ways in which you should on certain terms of process, you'll get to where you hope to be at this point, which is just to be in the party. And then you have to stamp your invitation to the party after the party. But you just have to handle your business in the
one
now.
party at a time.
Exactly.
And let's take a look at the standings. Time for Push for the Playoffs, presented by our friends over at All Pro Shade Concepts. This literally just changed, but we're gonna give Noah some slack because it literally happened 15 seconds ago while we were on air. So it's okay. It's just nice to see the Suns in the color there. They are technically 11th. Mavericks in 10. They have a chance to move up to 10 tonight with a win. Kings at 9, Clippers at 8, T-Wolves at 7, Warriors at 6, Grizzlies at 5, Lakers at 4, Nuggets at 3, Rockets at 2, and the Thunder at 1. And don't fully count out Portland yet. Just 2.5 games behind Phoenix going into tonight's game. However, it is going to take a lot from both the Mavs and the Suns for them to surpass and jump into the 10th seed. But we know tonight is, of course, always a must-win game with this Phoenix Suns. Let's see what our friends over at Bet365 have the line at for a must-win at home. The Suns are favored, -3 on the spread, -150 on the money line, +125 for Milwaukee, +3 on the spread. This is literally exactly your score prediction, Steven, so it seems pretty fair.
Seems pretty fair. Now it's time to go out and stamp it.
Well, speaking of stamping it, are we going to stamp a victory with our pregame picks presented by our friends over at Bet365? Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHNX365 when you sign up and find out why, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 plus and physically located in AZ. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT-STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. I missed it. Did either of you hit a bet while I was gone?
I came literally 1 rebound short of Ryan Dunn.
Story of your life, huh?
Yep. This is only like the 15th time I missed it by 1 this season in one of my legs.
Did I hit my bet?
You did not.
Oh, that's right, because Jared Allen, he didn't get a
He didn't play that
double-double.
well. He got played off the court.
What
in
an
some
asshole.
respects.
He did get that poster, though.
He did.
That was
that was
he
tough.
always is good for one of those against us.
That was
Loves to put us on a poster. Well, maybe tonight, Steven, your luck will change with this bet. What are you putting your money on?
We'll see, man. Sounds good. I have both teams scoring at least 110 points in this one. Both of those two teams average that on the season. I think this will be a game where it's going to be moderately high scoring. It might not be 120, but I think both teams get to 110. I have Kevin Durant getting a double-double. He'll need to be an X factor on the boards for the Suns against Giannis in particular. I have Giannis scoring less than 40 points in this one. Big wow. I can't believe that.
Brave.
Yeah.
I mean, to be
Real
honest with
brave.
you,
The odds were very good for that, though. Yeah.
I mean, it's tough, though, because I don't know what's less likely to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Durant double-double or Giannis 40 points, right? Like, which one of those is less likely? Those are two good ones.
And they always have blockbuster types of individual matchups when they match up with one another. Averages against each other over the course of their career is relatively the same.
And
about 28 points, same amount of rebounds for the most part.
You're dipping back into the Ryan Dunn rebound bets.
Of course.
You were hurt, but you're going back to the well.
Of course. I trust my process.
Oh, okay.
Might not get it. He literally had it in the fourth quarter and he fumbled it out of bounds. So there's that.
Vegas.
I
always know.
Exactly. I got him getting 5 or more in this one, off for plus 5,500.
Well, DJ from Flagstaff in the chat says, boom, calling it. KD will be the big, bright, shining star, and Dunn will be tonight's X Factor. For your bet to hit, you probably need both of those things to come true. What about Espo's bet? Let's take a look at Espo's. Got Giannis for 30-plus points, so walking a tightrope with your bet. Kevin Durant for 30-plus points, Giannis for 5-plus assists, and KD for 5-plus assists. 4-leg parlay, 2 players plus 900 over on Bet365. I could easily see all that happening.
I can see it.
KD averaging over 6 assists per game over the last 3 games when he won Western Conference Player of the Week. Giannis, a very underrated passer in his own right, something that I don't think he gets enough credit for in his game. What about me? I don't get enough credit for my game, my winning betting game. Oh, nice little. We're all going a little 4-leg parlay, small parlays tonight. Mine, I got Giannis over 51.5 points, rebounds, and assists, sticking with the PRA. I got Ryan Dunn over 14.5 PRA as well. He's been the 3rd leading scorer over the last 3 games as well, averaging about 14 points per game in that stretch. So I felt pretty good about that bet. KD over 2.5 3-pointers made, and Devin Booker over 2.5 3-pointers made as well. That's coming out to a plus 1,000, courtesy of our friends over at 365. We're going to wrap things up here soon on PHNX Suns, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on so you are back with us for our post game. But Steven, anything else on the Milwaukee side, the Phoenix side that we have not covered yet that fans should be keeping their eye on in this one?
Nick Richards versus Brook Lopez. Nick has to bring the BNE today, and if he doesn't, it's going to come at the detriment of the team. He has to be that literal big physical presence that he was in his first game against Jalen Duren in the Detroit Pistons. He has to stay in alignment with that for them to get this win, and I also think that he has to be good in terms of rotating out. We've seen him struggle against centers that can space the floor. Brook Lopez is elite when it comes to that. He can have a game where he knocks down 6 threes, and that's not baked into the process in terms of the Suns being able to withstand a center or any player on the Bucks, for that matter, knocking down 6 threes. So, but I'm genuinely curious, though. What's the game plan going to be? Is it going to be to limit Giannis in terms of his attempts from the field and allow for anyone else to eat? Or is it going to be some other iteration of trying to play the middle? Because it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't in multiple scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, it's Giannis. There's not a correct answer to that, right? Because on any given night, role players can hit threes. It's the NBA. Anybody can have a hot night shooting from deep, and if you focus all on Giannis and he's making the right reads out the three-point shooters, whether it's Lopez or Prince or Kuzma, whoever it is, then dang, you might have death from role players, right? Kind of a little bit how the Cavs had. I know KD had a great game, but Royce hitting a bunch of threes, Tyus hit a couple threes as well. But at the same time, you know, if you just let Giannis get his and try to play him straight up one-on-one, you know, with Dunn or with KD or with Nick, then you're going to end up getting torched, right? But in theory, anybody or who should be able to put together some sort of game plan to limit Giannis is the guy who game planned for him for 5 years and won a championship with him, and Mike Budenholzer. Of course, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I have a feeling you're probably going to make everybody else prove it first, and then if those threes start to fall, you're going to try to scramble and find a way off of that.
And who would you have guard KD if you were Mike Budenholzer?
Oh,
I mean, excuse me, Giannis.
Giannis?
Yeah. Who would you have guard Giannis?
I think, you know, body type wise, you probably end up with Kevin Durant as the natural fit, but Kevin Durant's such a good weak side defender, a very good help defender when it comes to being like just a long, lanky protector at the rim, that I like him, since he's not as big, to be coming off of the help to take on Giannis. So I'm thinking just him a little bit, but primarily probably Nick Richards. Put KD on Lopez, who's going to space the floor out a little bit. You're going to have to cheat off of Lopez, which might give up some corner threes or some wing threes, which Lopez can knock down. And then also have Dunn maybe floating around there on Kuzma as well. You're just going to need to find ways to have help side collapse in on him. And I think putting Nick just as a big body that can get the highest up vertically, and then having other players try to come in and collapse that. But you're, like you said, it's going to be everybody, including you, me, Be Calm, See Clearly. We're all going to be guarding Giannis tonight. Be Calm, See Clearly probably wants to guard Giannis tonight, if we're being honest. Speaking of, go ahead.
$2. Be calm, see clearly. How does Booker smell in person? Like heaven. Kissy, kissy heart, kissy heart.
Any other basketball you'd like to talk about?
Watch out for their 3-point shooters. They have some streaky guys, but a player like Gary Trent Jr., AJ Green, Taurean Prince, those type of players can go out and knock down a handful of threes that kind of throw the floor of the game off rhythm. Same thing for a player like Kyle Kuzma, to your point, who you mentioned. So I would just say the Suns have to be sharp with loading over towards Giannis and rotating out of that. I don't think this game will be one where their switching has the impact that it did over the last handful. So now it's about what else can you do past just that. And that's going to be what the big test in tonight's game is, because you mentioned, like you spoke to with Giannis, he's one of the better playmakers, especially for the attention that he garners, and it does not get nearly enough credit. Also, his mid-range jump shot is elite this season.
See, and, you know,
he's in top 6.
Not to be like a Giannis defender, because that guy ruined my hopes and dreams just a couple of years ago, and I hate him for it. That block is burned into my skull. I do think that he just gets the James Harden run and dunk man, you know, thing.
Yeah, that's
tired.
That's so lame. Like, I genuinely yawn every time I see
it. He is one of the most skilled big men that we've ever seen. And he is extended to a extremely lethal mid-range shot. I'm going to live with him shooting threes, even though he's improved on that over his career. But that mid-range is a bucket for him, and it's something that defenses have to be aware of. Something else to be aware of, milestone night possibly for Doc Rivers. Did you know that with a win tonight, he becomes 7th all-time, tying Phil Jackson on the NBA's all-time coaching wins list?
Interesting. I hope it doesn't happen tonight, but
Correct.
Salute to the hometown kid, Doc Rivers.
Well, here's the thing. There's one thing we know about Doc Rivers. He always coaches well and steps up in the big game. Always has his teams ready when a lot's on the line. I thought it was funny. There was a quote, and I swear to God, I thought it was Centel, but it was not. That Doc Rivers says he doesn't get enough credit for winning the 3 games in the series that he's blown 3-1 leads.
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
That one wasn't it. That one was not it.
He's like, we overachieved, we overperformed. You were up 3-1 in the series.
Yeah. That wasn't it.
Yeah, no.
That wasn't it.
Not at all.
Just for clarity, Doc Rivers is from my hometown. Not meaning he's from
not here.
Phoenix.
No,
yeah.
that's
Just for clarity.
Arizona hometown coach,
Yes.
Mike Budenholzer.
Correct.
Anybody else? I just want to look at Milwaukee's roster a little bit because Dame is out. You know, we mentioned Brook, Kuzma, Giannis, Taurean Prince. Anybody else that if you're not watching the Bucks intently so far this season that might give this specific team, the Phoenix Suns, fits?
AJ Green. AJ Green is unheralded. He is the proverbial shooter. You know what I mean by that?
Yes.
But he also they like to sneak him into their offense because he's silly. They like to sneak him around in their offense by having him set inverted pick and roll screens and things like that for Giannis Antetokounmpo, whether it's for him to get from the block to the elbow, elbow to the block, block to block, get to the mid post, or if he's setting a screen for Giannis and pick and roll. Because whoever's guarding AJ Green is probably the worst defender on the court. It's probably going to be Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones, you don't want to switch against Giannis for obvious reasons. So that puts teams in compromise.
Tyus on Giannis.
That puts teams in compromise because if you end up showing 2 to Giannis, even if it is for a half a second, AJ Green's popping for a wide open 3, and that's a layup for him in most respects. So AJ Green is an unheralded player. He's also a player that was on that championship team. Sorry to beat the dead horse,
Come on, man.
He's a player that has impact for them in ways that might not necessarily always catch the casual eye that kind of just has a look at the Bucks.
Something to keep in mind. Also, $4.99 super chat from Sith Lord. Thanks, Sith Lord. Says, if Plumlee takes Oso's minutes, I'm preparing Earth for Viltrumit rule. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. Do you know what that is, Noah?
Get your vocab up, bro.
I also say lastly.
Oh, is it Invincible? I'm sorry, I don't watch Invincible. I should. Get Gerald in here.
Say lastly that the Bucks have a player that should not be in the NBA in any capacity. And I mean that with the most stern, straight face possible.
Oh, yeah, KPJ?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, get out of here.
That's why I refuse to bring that name up.
I would like Kevin Durant to put his nuts all over his face and posterize him because I nothing more than want those guys to fail heavily and resoundingly in front of everybody, even though they shouldn't have the opportunity to fail in front of people in the first place. We hope our people, all of you, the most important people in the chat, join us for our post-game show. Gerald will be calling in from PHNX Arena. Of course, the 3 of us will be holding it down here in studio. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and we'll be back. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the Suns can overcome that dreaded Eric Ruby curse and win 4 in a row. Come on. Do it, and we'll see you then.
We all silly like the mayor.